morning, it's Brian here over at Expert Dojo. I have another phenomenal entrepreneur on our podcast today. And this again is a company that Expert Dojo have invested in. We are so pleased to have invested in this company. And I do not say this many times, but I absolutely 100% have visibility to this company going from where it is today, which is an early stage startup at a phenomenal valuation, to becoming a unicorn, which is going to be doing $10 million a month in revenue as a certainty. Okay, so you'll never hear me say this, but I'm saying it because I see it and because everybody else is going to see it by the time we finish this podcast today. Vipul, welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about, when you're saying hi, just tell us a little bit about Unlu and how you came up with the idea and what it is.
Hi, Brian. First of all, thank you so much for hosting me over here. It's my pleasure to be here. And I think starting with the idea, so before starting with the idea, I would like to tell what Unlu means. So it's a Turkish word which means famous. So what all we're going to talk about is how we are bringing the famous personalities and making the people famous around. So I think the idea is very much very simple. So if you had seen in the last couple of decades, a lot of platforms have came where it's all about a one-way engagement, where it's all about learning what the influencers for the celebrities are doing. But it was never a chance for anyone to talk to them directly, to have a two-way communication, to learn themselves and to talk about I as an audience. Okay, so when my birthday comes up as a celebrity, a lot of fans comes and wish me. But when my fans' birthday come up and when they expect me to wish them, I can't be there as a celebrity. So there's a huge problem out there, but there's no solution. There's only one way communication, there's only consumption. So that's where the idea come from. And I myself been in the market from last 5-6 years now, talking to a lot of these celebrities, being with fans. My last company was also in cricket fan engagement, worked with a lot of cricketers. And the only focus was always being seeing that what all the complaints are happening. And I spent a couple of years of my life in just seeing what the content that people are writing on these celebrities' profile. So how they're liking them. If they're not liking, then what's the reason? So we had seen a lot of things happening where if I do something bad as a celebrity, then the trend goes negative. If I do something good as a celebrity, the trend goes positive. So it's all what my actions are. So people don't actually know me, that who I am. They just know from what media is typing in. If you go on a celebrity's profile, the maximum number of comments are not that they like the photos that I posted, but the maximum number of comments are, can you please reply me? Can you please say me happy birthday? Can you please talk to me? The maximum number of messages that we had seen are more about, can you please reply me over here? So the need of talking to those personalities whom we are admiring from long time is extremely high, but the solution are none.
Amazing. So let me try and paraphrase that here. So it's because it's really interesting what you say. There's a million magazines, publications, newsletters, blogs where it's just content and the content is kind of fed to us like a fire hose, right? But we can't do anything with that content. There's no pure engagement. So you decided that you were going to build a platform whereby ordinary people, just everybody who's in the street, can actually connect and engage with extraordinary personalities at any time at a really, really low cost. Now, what I haven't mentioned to people listening to this podcast is that we searched far away to find you. We went all the way over to India because we knew a few things are happening in India, which I just want to align with the conversation about personalities. Number one, it's got one of the fastest growing populations in the world, right? There's 1 billion people over there who are anxious to engage with their favorite personalities. They probably adore their favorite personalities more than most other places in the world. Not cricketers, especially Bollywood, all of the other levels. Number two, the economy is growing like crazy. It's the economy most watched around the world right now for innovations, not just geo, but just great technology companies that are breaking through on multiple different levels. You also have a population that are getting more and more engaged in mobile, and it's spreading further across the world. So actually, the time to create something like you're creating has actually never been better. And I want to go deeper into the solution because people are going to really want to understand about the execution here, which, by the way, is the whole reason that we invested in you. We believe so deeply in your execution that we are absolutely sure you're going to achieve what you're going to achieve. But before we get there, let's look at the team a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about your areas of expertise and then some of the folks around the team and why you put all those different people in the different places.
Yeah, so I think like running multiple startups, the one thing that we realize, and then one thing that we all know important is the team. So having the right team in place is pretty important. So we are the 4 co-founders, and with me coming with the expertise of our business and the marketing, and majorly with all these celebrities, working with these celebrities. So a lot of insights happening. What's how I as a celebrity going to look like, or how I as a fan looks like. A lot of those insights been there. A lot of that experience working with the similar companies been there. Then we have other 3 co-founders. The one come from a pure play product background. So he's one of the greatest product guy in India and worked with like unicorns in India just on the product. So that expertise actually helps a lot to define how a fan will find it easy to scroll it, whatever we are building. Then we have a hardcore tech guy who's a full stack developer with a 10 plus years experience in developing product, who scaled product to a multi-million downloads, who knows how to work at a scale, who knows that when a celebrity will post and a millions of fans will come on the platform, how to handle that thing, how to handle the technology. Then we have a guy who actually helped Amazon starting in India, being in the Bain & Company, and build a product from a 2 million to 120 million downloads in India. So it's a combination of business, marketing, the space itself, and the product and tech. The 4 people that we are, like we have a combined experience of more than 40 years in our respective fields, and brings a immense experience which helps to build what we are building.
So I want to stick on this point for a second because there's a huge lesson here. The folks who listen to this podcast are generally investors, 80% investors. And of those investors, it's probably 50-50 split between extremely experienced investors that are looking for deal flow and newer investors that are just looking for great companies to invest in. And one of the biggest mistakes that the newer investors make is that they chase an idea. They chase a great idea. They go, oh my gosh, there's a great idea. This is very trendy. COVID is here. You would imagine that this is going to be very popular. I have to run after it. And what we say at Expert Dojo, and look, our context is that we are the largest investor by deal numbers anywhere in Southern California. There is nobody investing in more deals than us. So we kind of sort of know what we're talking about here. We do not chase great ideas. We chase great execution of great ideas based on perfect skill gapping. Now, what do I mean by perfect skill gapping? Because this is the key to everything. What you just heard Vipul explain, as far as having all of the different areas of expertise covered, is skill gapping. Many founders believe, I'll start a company, I'm a biz dev guy, I'll hire a tech guy, I'll hire somebody to do some sales, I'll hire somebody to do some operating. No, because they're hired help. When you have 4 founders that say, I want to make sure we have the greatest technologist that we can find anywhere in India. I want to make sure that we have somebody with such deep domain expertise within the agency space that actually knows the top personalities, not BS, C-level and B-level personalities. I'm talking about the top personalities in India, like the number 1 badminton player in India, top Bollywood stars, huge personalities. You need someone who is a key influencer in that space as one of the founders. And then we look at the PR, and then we look at the logistics. And then you piece all this together, and now you understand why Expert Dojo invested in this company in a heartbeat. I think I told you the first time we spoke, I wanted to invest in your company. Did I?
Yeah.
I did, right? I said, please. I even said, please. Because I knew. Because you know what we do as investors is not complicated. It's not complicated. It's not guaranteed, but it's not complicated. If a road is paved incredibly well with a strong foundation, with a beginning point and a clear route to the destination, you know that road is going to be a sturdy road to drive your car on. And that's the foundation and the way that we actually look at our thesis on how we invest in startups. So I looked at the road that Unlu are building. I looked at the fact that India and everything I mentioned earlier on with India. I looked at the influencer space and the fact that it's growing like crazy right now, and that Indians are fanatics with their heroes. I looked at your team and I said to myself, what an incredible team. This thing is off the charts. And I want to go in a moment, I want to go to the final area where we look at, and I try and move from the skill gapping and I move to trying to do what I call island hopping, which is to see how do you get to $10,000 a month in revenue? How do you get to $100,000 a month in revenue? How do you get to $1 million in revenue a month? And then how do you get to $10 million a month in revenue? Because I know once you hit $1 million a month, you are possibly a unicorn. Once you get to $10 million a month, you are a multiple billion-dollar company. So if I can map my way there, as an investor, I know I'm good, but I don't want to go there too fast. I want to slow us down for a second, and I want to take us back to the beginning. Because everything we've talked about so far is about how incredible Unlu is, what an incredible platform you've built, how phenomenal a team you put together, and everything that you did to make this happen. I want you to talk to me about some of the more difficult periods you went through. Like, how challenging was this? Because many people listening to this podcast, they might get the impression that it's just easy to build one of the greatest influencer platforms that the world has ever seen. But it's not, right?
Yeah. So I think there are a lot of insights. So whenever you start working to start any sort of company, the most important things, that how much you know about that market, how much you know that. And even if there are many competitors around, even if there are many people who might executed it, you have to learn that what might went right, what might went wrong. And it cannot be a day-long process, neither it can be a month-long process. You have to be in the market to observe what's happening if you really want to go out and build a billion-dollar company. All the billion-dollar companies we had seen, the founders were in the market from few years, observing what's happening, either working in the similar companies, either working with the similar audience, either working with the similar vendors, but they all knew what's going to happen, what might going to change. And they all knew because they had been there. They learned it. They had learned it from what's happening. So the first biggest challenge for us to understand that whatever we are trying to do, either there's enough demand or not. Are the people who are actually want to go this way or not? We spent 18 months into just gathering those insights. And
wow.
We went through millions of comments and multi-million messages that these celebrities receive on their Instagram, their YouTube, just to check that what sort of messages are happening. We talked to like thousands of users to first figure out that, yes, what all sort of product that people want. And we actually did a type A, type B, type C, that this is the sort of user who come and who just want this, like who just want a hi or who just want a selfie. But they are the user who look with respect, who want to learn that why this celebrity been able to do something. Can I do like this? So the more interest is how you do it. The third interest is just to have a conversation. Like, I admired you. I just want you 5 minutes. I want to learn with you. So the aspect of a fan was very different. Like I said, there are 3-4 types of fans where you have to learn through. And that happens when you actually go on the ground, you talk to these fans. And that when you talk with like thousands of fans, because you never know that what new insights comes up. And even today is our learning phase. Every time a new user comes up, we learn something new. That's one. Second, we observed whatever is happening in the market very closely in terms of any sort of competitor who came up, what mistakes might happen over there, what can be improved, even if it was not a mistake. If there's something executed pretty well, what can be improved better than that? So so our focus was a lot on the execution, more than starting something out, more than building something, building a product, launching in the market. The focus was right from day one, just to the execution. That how we can execute it better than anyone ever did till now. So that
Please continue.
The challenges comes up, I think, to gather all those data, to go through that. And then the biggest thing was that we cannot start a big platform by smaller things. So you cannot just launch the platform where you ask people to talk to extraordinary personalities and you start with micro influencers. That cannot be the way around. So the first challenge was to get the first top 20 people saying that we haven't launched the product, but we want you on board and we want to launch with you. And we don't have money to pay you. We can't pay you anything, but you have to come back with us. You have to follow with us. You have to be the part of the launch. And yes, you are coming. So that first 20 big names getting on the platform, that was one of the biggest challenge. But the moment that happened, I think a lot of road post that become much easier.
And how did you convince them? How did you convince? Because I love this, because what we're doing is we're going down the belief road. And the belief road is a very difficult road, right? Because at the beginning, you're saying to everybody around you, this is going to be incredible, phenomenal, brilliant. We're going to have something in the future which is going to be undeniably the greatest, most amazing, most incredible, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, you have nothing, right? You have nothing in that moment, right? You have, except for a belief that you can build something incredible. So I love the fact that you started this with a foundation. And I actually think also it defines why I believe Indian companies in general are going to have an incredible next 10 years. Because rather than just launching into it and saying, I believe because I read it, I saw a TV program that told me this was good news, you spent 18 months laying this foundation, understanding, listening to everybody around you, finding out anything possible that could go wrong with it before you even began the first step. So when you then started on that belief path with the influencers around you, you already had moved beyond just belief yourself. You had now moved to the knowledge that it was going to be successful. But how did you get these first 10 or so influencers when you didn't have a platform, you didn't have a website, you had nothing? How did you convince them to trust you with what you were building?
The one answer, the one very small answer which I have is that those 18 months helped me to convince these people, because then I went to them not with that you're going to make a hell lot of money on the platform, but with a focus that, see, this is something which is the future and you need it. And you cannot go anywhere else. So I got a lot of no, undoubtedly. A lot of people said, no, I don't want to come in. I just can't come in. You guys haven't even launched. Like, how do I gonna make money? But then what I sold is myself. What I sold is the team. I literally sent the profile of every team member and showed them, see, who are building are the one who actually left their jobs, okay, and like where they're making crores of money over there, but they left their job over there and they come back to solve this big problem. And you know that this is a problem and you have to trust someone. So do you think that we are the team that you guys can trust on? And the moment we start getting our first years, second years, and then we go out to a third person saying that these two people are already with us, they trusted us, and this is who we are. Now, will you trust us? So that getting first 2, 3, 4, I think that's one biggest challenge. Then the 4 people bring the 5th one, then the referral things start happening, because this is a very close community. You know, when you get the C league with you, all the C leagues say that, okay, he's doing this, I also want to come in. If you get the B league, that they follow across. If you get the A league, everyone follow across. So that's how actually we approach this up.
Very smart. And of course, there's a company over here in the US that have tried this in a very, very, very small way compared to what you're doing over there. But they started with the B-level influencers. And your point is so valid, because if you start with the Bs or the Cs, you never go higher. You never go higher. Nobody wants to be beside a C-level personality if you're an A-level personality, if the C-level person was there first. What was so incredibly smart about what you did and why it was so worthwhile to spend that extra time to get the folks in is you went straight for A personalities. That, I'm guessing, was a very specific tactic.
Yeah. So that's we focus on a lot. So that actually we observed over time. So the company which spent even 2, 3 years down the line, they haven't been able to move on the A side just because they always been fulfilled by B and C. And since I come from this market, I knew it pretty well that the moment I'm gonna say the A person that I have C person, why don't you come join in? He said, oh please, I don't want to share the platform with you. So that's why it's gonna happen, because this might. So the one thing that we have to understand, the way we think as an entrepreneur, the way we think as a normal personalities, even our spending pattern, either a thinking pattern, are way different than as a celebrity. I as a celebrity don't think about tomorrow. I as a celebrity think about today, what I can do today, what I can buy today, whom I can share the platform today. If I see someone of my league doing something, I want to do it today.
I love it. I love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, so we built the foundation. You built the belief within your team first. You created the greatest team of all time to come in at this. You then took your dream team and then said, okay, now we have to convince the influencers. You convinced the influencers. I am guessing the next people that you had to help believe were the actual investors themselves.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
That journey had, so we spent a lot of time into getting all these pieces together. But post that, with investor side, we had one strategy that we don't want to go out and tell everyone that we are raising funds. So we went out pretty specifically that thinking that which all investors can actually help us grow and make it $1 billion company, or can be a part of our journey together. So we went out with 4-5 fixed investors, that these are the investors whom we want to target, whom we think might be potential investors for us, and who can actually help us moving ahead in our journey in terms of business, in terms of any sort of thing. So that strategy worked pretty well. So we went out with 4-5 investors. We anyways got the overcommitment. So we were raising some round, which has already been closed. We were already overfulfilled. And with you also coming on board, that helps a lot. A lot of people came. So that's where we are. Like we closed our first round. Now we'll possibly open our second round in next December, January.
Beautiful. And so again, this is more for entrepreneurs to take a lesson from than for the investors to take a lesson from. Belief is like an avalanche, right? It starts off with a little bit of snow, which starts to come down, and then the snow rolls on top of more snow and more and more and more. And before you know it, you have this huge avalanche of belief, which is just roaring down a mountain. And that's what happened with you because of the foundation. I really believe it was the phenomenal foundation that you put in place. And because you built something from the core in a really strong way, it was easier for you to be able to get the influencers. And by the time you got to the investors, you said to them, look, I have an ultimatum for you. And I'm a nice guy and I'm a polite guy and I find you a very humble person compared to the qualities and the abilities that you have. And that comes across very strong. But you say, but I need you to understand something. This first round of $400,000 or $500,000 is gone. Like, it's going to be gone in a week or 2 weeks. And I'm not saying that just to create some kind of fear of missing out or something else silly. I'm saying that because everybody already believes. And they believe because of what we've achieved. So I'm saying to everybody listening to this podcast right now, you've missed the first round. The first round is gone. And the first round went so fast that you probably wouldn't have been able to get into it even if you had wanted to. But let me tell you the good news from your side. This company, and we're going to move in towards traction now and what's been happening since they've launched the company. In the first month, true to form, they promised their investors and everybody else, we're going to bring in revenue. Now, normally a company in its first month, especially a marketplace, it would bring in $1,000, $2,000, maybe $5,000 in revenue if they've done well. And that's because they haven't raised a huge amount of money. This company brought in $40,000+ in their first month. Not only have they brought in $40,000 in their first month, but I'm going to give you a prediction. Now, Vipul is going to tell us how, but I'm going to give you a prediction of what's going to happen here before the beginning of next year, or by the beginning of next year. This company will have taken what they brought in revenue in their first month, and by the time they get to month 5 or month 6, they will multiply that by 4 times. That's what I believe is going to happen. That's how much belief that I have in the team of where they're going to be. I believe they will pass out their competitor in the US who have been going for many years. I believe they will pass them out in only their second year in business. And I believe they will blitz any other influencer platform anywhere. Now, I want to get into the final segment of the show. Now, before we talk about how you're going to get to what revenue with what, let's just give a very clear overview of what the individual features inside the platform are. Everybody knows that this is a communication platform between influencers and between ordinary people. And there are a multitude of ways that they can interact, 2 ways with each other. Can you explain each one of the ways that folks can interact with their celebrities? And then I want you to move directly to the money shot, the revenue. How do we get to $1 million a month in revenue? How do we get to $10 million a month in revenue? And when are all of us investors picking up our checks from when you get acquired or go public?
Yeah. So starting from like
features.
Yeah. So as I explained in the beginning that we have a multiple type of users. Okay. So with the type A, type B, type C. So I'll take it that way. So for the users who are just looking to get that selfie, get that hi, hello, or happy birthday. So we have a feature video shout out where you just come on the platform with every artist over there. You can book a personalized video from them saying whatever you want. And we even have a unique musics for you. You can ask the artist to create a music for you. Then the second feature is that where you can get on a video call. So if you can't approach brand that way, you can't write a mail or he's not responding, you might just come on our platform. You can ask him that I want to get on a 5-minute, 10-minute video call with you. So
that's cool, by the way. By the way, there is no competitor for that because nobody else does that. So I can jump on with a celebrity that I really like, maybe for 5 minutes or so, and just say, hey, man, it's me. And I just wanted to say hi, and I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah, and take a Zoom selfie or take a video call selfie and tell all your friends and become famous in your community.
Awesome. And how much would that cost? Like I know it varies on the celebrity, but I mean, is it in the thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars or?
No, it's actually hundreds of dollars. So it depends on
wow.
celebrity. It starts from even $20 and it goes up to $200, $300. Depends on the artist you're choosing on the platform.
Fantastic. Okay, we get that one. Next product.
Pretty easy for the people who can't afford it. So if I don't have a money to pay it, but what I can do, I can show that I'm a super fan. So I can just jump in a quiz. I can give all the answers right about the celebrity. Shows that I know him more than any other fan. And if I'm the lucky one, I get a chance to get on a call with them. And that hardly takes few cents, less than $1. So that anyone everywhere can spend to get. So they are the people in India who actually travels for days and days, who spent a lot of dollars in tickets just to stand in front of the houses of these celebrities in order to get a hi from them. So they don't mind paying that $1, proving that they are the super fan and getting those video calls, getting those video messages from them. So it's across.
And by the way, I just want to give Vipul and his team a shout out here because today, it's super obvious, right? Everybody's looking at personalities and thinking, oh, yeah, of course you're going to do online interaction with with ordinary folks who really like you because that's the only way you can do it. But you had this vision a few years back. And when you had this vision, we didn't have COVID, we didn't have online, but you knew it was just a smarter way for celebrities to engage with their fans. Now, what's happened with COVID is it's exploded everything because now there are no more physical experiences. There are no more concerts. There are no more football games. And even like the cricket games and things, even they're going to be held in closed quarters. So actually online interaction, it's almost as if you have been given the entire audience of everything overnight.
Yeah. So this market I had been researching from 2016. Like I think in the last quarter of 2015, I'd say that like fan engagement is something which is the next thing happening. So
wow.
I'm thinking it that way. So as we all are saying that influencer economy is next, where people are going to trust influencers. Do we have a platform where we can build the trust? Actually, no. So we don't have any platform where the trust between the fans and the celebrities being built. But we are talking about the influencer economy where everything's happening on the trust on the influencers. So the foundation of that biggest thing that we are thinking to happen in future is not there. So that's why it's very much important to have a platform like this. And the fourth product that we have is a masterclass. So we had researched a kind of audience. So where you had seen a lot of actors who go in the movies. Okay. So what happened that we talk about how much money that movie made. Then there are few actors, we talk about how those actors went into that role. So the need to that is that how they do it. So the question was how they do it, how the actors do that acting, pick that role, how the singers sing that song. So the focus was to build up classes from these people and not just classes where you can learn from them, but also if you perform the task pretty well, you might can go and talk to them one-to-one and get a chance to work along with them if you are the right candidate.
Fantastic.
So, the overall platform is to just bridge that gap more and more closer. And given that how we started, we already, as you told, like we already did a business of 40,000, like almost $50,000+ now as we are talking. And we are on the same path. Like we're going to have $50,000 this month and multiplying by 2 every month from now for the next 6 months or so. So that's what the goal is. And it seems fairly possible because what we are doing is not just building this product, but implementing or you can interjecting this particular thing in the life of the people. So you buy something, you buy a product, you buy a car, you buy a house, you buy a motorbike. You deserve a congratulation or thank you from a personalities you always admired. Think of that happening. You are the best employee of the year, and from whom you're getting the admiration, like from the favorite celebrity. On your happy birthday, the HR is not sending you a email saying a happy birthday, but sending you a video from the person whom you are admiring. So we are interjecting the piece into the life of the people that way, that this is just an everyday thing. The influencers, the way I as a fan see my influencers every day in my life is a very similar way. Influencers will come in my life for a personalized thing, for a personalized congratulations, greetings, thank yous. And not on that, we also had seen people buying these videos just to convince their mom and dad. So a lot of these things are happening. And with the clear plan that how we are moving around, how we are interjecting this with corporates, with the business, with the normal greeting cards, so we are just pushing this and replacing the entire way that digital going to look like now in future.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's really funny. Like, so you want to convince your dad to let you go to a party, and you get your dad's favorite cricketer to ask if you could go to the party. I mean, seriously, the dad's got to be a dick to say no. Like, you just got his favorite cricketer to say, come on, you got to let her go to the party. She deserves it. She's great. Look how much she's helped you from a cricketer. Yeah, the potential for this is off the charts. How many Indians are there in the world, do you think? In the world?
Like 1 out of 7 person on the earth is Indian.
Oh, 1 out of 7. Like, why are we wasting our time anywhere else? 1 out of 7 people are Indian. So look, we want to finish off, make sure everybody has your details. I sound overly enthusiastic on this one for all of the reasons that everybody's seeing in this podcast. Like, if you don't get it by now, you are missing out. And there are investors who will say, oh, I don't invest in marketplaces. You're wrong. They'll say, oh, I don't invest in influencer platforms. You're wrong. And they'll say, oh, I don't invest in great teams. No, they don't say that, because you are a great team. I'm telling you, this one, we're going to come back to the well probably in December, January. The company will raise $2 to $3 million to do a massive scaling. I believe, and I know this is crazy to say in the second year, I believe they will hit $1 million in revenue by the end of 2021. I know it's mad. I know it's crazy. I know it's the second year, but I believe they will do it. I believe they will be one of the fastest growing unicorns of all time. And you heard it here. And they didn't come from some fancy Ivy League school. They didn't come from a privileged, this is easy background. They built it themselves. So you're going to look back in 2 years' time, and you saw it here. Vipul, can you please share with everybody your website details so they can check you out, which I think is pretty easy, right? You can also share your email address so that investors can connect with you directly. And then if you can also share one parting thought, which is your entire experience of entrepreneurship from the beginning to now. If you're going to encapsulate that in one sentence, just give it to us as we're leaving.
Yeah. So my website is, like, you can visit Unlu at www.unlu.io. My email ID is vipul@unlu.io. And if you just want to sum up my learnings or what my experience had been like, then as I said in the beginning, I'm learning today also, and I'll keep learning, and that's what being an entrepreneur is. And
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. Never stop learning. Look, you're a legend. I love working with you. I'm delighted we've invested into you. I'm looking forward to continuing to invest all the way through your later on rounds. Congratulations on everything you've built, and just keep on building the dream.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. With your support, we'll surely be able to achieve all those revenue numbers. And that's a not mad numbers. That's a thoroughly possible if you look at as a business side, not what the trend says. It's thoroughly possible. $1 million is, I think, 2021, end of the 2020, too late. We can do it before than that.
Before than that, $1 million a month in monthly recurring revenue. You heard it here. That's a wrap.